So let's take a look. Let's start with the slideshow. Creature Commandos. Hmm. Well, oh man, James Gunn is James Gunn is doing what he loves. Building a team of wacky, weird characters that nobody knows about, and assembling them all into a universe. He did it with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and look how the much impact they brought to the comic books, animated shorts, animation, and video games. Now he did it with Peacemaker. I mean, I had no idea who Peacemaker was before seeing exciting to see. So according to this, James Gunn has it'll be a 7 episode series that James Gunn has already written, and it'll follow the adventures of Rick Flag Sr. So Rick Flag's Rick Flag's father, Dr. Phosphorus, um, Nina Mazurksi, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, described as the lead of the show. That'll be interesting. Wow. GI Robot and Weasel. And they'll also play them in live actions. That'll be interesting to see. I'm actually excited for this, and if they retain this art style, I'm up for it. James Gunn is brilliant at characters that you know nothing about and just turning them into absolute superstars. So I can't wait for what he does with Creature Commandos. Waller, okay, Waller. So a TV series based on Viola Davis's Amanda Waller. You know what? He James Gunn definitely did a much better job with Waller in the DC, um, in the Peacemaker series and the Suicide Squad. So I'm interested to see what how much he'll expand upon Waller's character in her own series. I mean, Waller would be a very compelling character for her own series, and the sort of stories they can bring. So I'm excited. This one, the big one. Okay. So okay. So Superman, like, Creature Commandos will come before Superman Legacy, but James Gunn has said that Superman Legacy will be the one that officially kicks off the new DC universe, and um, he's writing it and he'll be directing it. So as of today, it has been announced that he will be writing and directing Superman Legacy. He's um has been saying that it's not an origin story, but it does focus on Superman's balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. And from what I've been hearing, it will go back to it will restore Superman's. It'll go back to the lighthearted, kind, optimistic Superman. Basically, I think be a Lantern series, and it'll be a live action show, and it's described as like a true detective type mystery, but with superheroes. So I am full on. I am 100% excited for this because I think what really contributes to a lot of superhero fatigue is that all superhero movies just feel like superhero movies, nothing else. Whereas, and I'm going to attest that there are some of the best superhero movies that we had today do not feel like superhero movies. I mean, the Batman, it feels like a detective story. Batman with Robert Pattinson, it feels like a detective story. Then you've got the original Ant Man. It felt more like a heist movie. Then you have Spider Man Homecoming. It felt like a John Hughes coming of age story. That was it. And of course, there is oh, Captain America, Civil War, and Winter Soldier. It felt more like political thrillers. So that's how I think that's why I feel those sort of movies succeeded so well. And recent entries such as um, Quantum Mania and Black Adam just didn't go up to standards, did not live up to their standards. This featuring Hal Jordan, a series of first trailers and seeing the official photos of the cast. But right now, I'm not that interested in this group. I have faith James Gunn will be able, from his past experience, I have faith that he will make these characters into mainstream superstars. But for now, I'm not really that invested in it. But I hope, I pray to the universe that it will not end up like Eternals. My goodness, Eternals was just, it just sort of happened. It's just, Eternals was a big letdown. Oh, Paradise Lost. So this one has been described like a Game of Thrones on Themyscira, the home of Wonder Woman, and it'll all deal with like the political intrigue of the whole place. So I'm excited for it. Yeah, I'm very excited of how they will adapt to the story. I mean, it'll be a fresh new take on it. I think is different he's experimenting with different story types, different genres of storytelling with this, and good on him. And this, it should be the chapter one shouldn't really just focus. Chapter one, Gods and Monsters of the DCU, shouldn't focus so much on. It's one of its. If there's one thing that will make it crumble under its own weight, it's just trying to compete with Marvel too much on building a cinematic universe. Instead, it should just focus on introducing its characters, um, and telling stories, but with different, experimenting with different stories, characters, and genres instead of just always trying to compete with Marvel. I'm looking forward to Paradise Lost, especially now that we won't have Wonder Woman 3 anymore. Okay, this one. I'm okay. I'm all for one with a. So from what I've heard that The Brave and the Bold will be a story about um Batman, featuring Batman, who I know won't be played by Ben Affleck anymore. He's pretty much done with the role after the Flash movie, and his son Damian Wayne as Robin. I cannot wait. I mean, they'll finally bring Damian Wayne into the cinematic mainstream universe. I'm excited for it. But the thing is that, okay, for what I heard, Robert Pattinson's Batman will have his own franchise. It'll be separate from the main DCU continuity. It'll be part of the DC Elseworlds franchise. I just Another Batman. I mean, if we have another Batman with two cinematic Batmans at the same time, we'll just be overloaded with Batmans already. And this year alone, we'll be having two Batmans in the same movie. We've got Michael Keaton returning as his version of Batman, and we've got Ben Affleck returning as his version of Batman in the same movie. I'm just I'm a huge Batman fan, but really, we're just gonna be bombarded with. I just want to see other characters and stories, and we're gonna be bombarded with too much Batman already. Honestly, I want to see this story. I hope I really want to see this sort of story. So let's find out. All right, Booster Gold. Okay, this one I know James Gunn will probably have a lot of fun with. Booster Gold is he's a relatively mid character. I loved his appearance in the original Justice League, in the Justice League Unlimited series. So I'm excited for it. And James Gunn did say that the DCAU, starting back with the Batman animated series, will be the source of inspiration for his DC universe for it. And I think it could. I think a Booster Gold comedy series would actually work really well. It would work phenomenally well in a DC in for a show. So I'm excited for it. Okay, this is one of the okay, this is the project very I just feel it's not very necessary, honestly. I mean, okay. Not that I don't like Supergirl, not that I have nothing against the character of Supergirl, it's just that we've already have The Supergirl from the CW series that's ended, and we're already having another version of the character in the Flash movies, and just like with Batman, we're just gonna be. It's just too soon. We're gonna be bombarded with too many Supergirls. It's just gonna be. We're gonna be bombarded with a Supergirl. A Supergirl movie will just be too. It's just too soon. It's just too soon already. We already have enough Supergirl. Um, there's enough superhero movies, and as well, I have nothing against the character. I really hope I feel that James Gunn will do her justice, but really it's just too soon for I want I want I wish that James Gunn could use this slate to introduce a new character, or maybe a new return heavy hitter characters such as Wonder Woman, because they though if you it makes sense to introduce the big DC trio into the first chapter. Well, we'll see with it. Okay, this is the second one where I'm just another Swamp Thing movie. It's just too soon, especially after we had only around. Let me just check. Yeah, it's only been 4 years since the Swamp Thing TV series show has been canceled. So I feel that a Swamp Thing's movie will just be too soon already. From what he's saying, it could be a horror series, but I can understand why James Gunn would want to include this character. He's relatively unknown, and his dark origins would make for a fantastic horror movie. I mean, they executed the horror elements brilliantly in the Swamp Thing series. So, I am if they can do that sort of if they can accomplish that sort of feat, I would be happy to see Swamp Thing again. Especially, I mean, I hope they get Derek Mears back as Swamp Thing. He was a brilliant. You need somebody who can, and I'll be happy if they do. I'll be slightly happy if they. I'll be alright if they do a combination of practical and CG effects for Swamp Thing. As long as they, and I've been a, and I ever since reading Alan Moore's run of Swamp Thing, I've become quite a fan of the character. So hopefully they do him justice. And that's it. Oh wow. Yeah, so I guess that's James Gunn's slate the DC universe needs right now. And it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to Creature Commandos. I do love this sort of image. I hope they retain this art style. I love this art style. Um, I'm interested in Superman Legacy. Lanterns, yep. The Brave and the Bold, even though we are overflowing with so much Batman material, I'm still happy with this, especially now that they're going to be introducing Damian Wayne, the film Dark Light. It's basically super, especially Superman if he was evil, really evil. It started Elizabeth Banks. I forgot what it was called. Um, 1 second, guys. Oh, Brightburn, Brightburn. That's what it's called, Brightburn. Yeah. Uh, and even Booster Gold too. If James Gunn is great with comedy too, so it's gonna be great. I'm I am after the disappointment of Black Adam, I'm interested to know how the DC universe will thrive under James Gunn's guidance. All right, guys, let's catch you.